And we're live. Thank you for joining us on the 7th edition of Open Source Block Explorers Now. We have an amazing group with us today. I just want to, again, note why we're here. We have this amazing blockchain that is very difficult to read off of. So we need to put in a lot of extra work and build something open source that will allow anyone to have access to the data that's stored on the blockchain without having to just trust Etherscan in their closed source software. As much as we all love Etherscan, because we all love Etherscan. Much love to Matt. But again, let's get this show started. We'll just do brief intros, just your name, who you work for, and any quick intentions for the call. So I'm Griff Green. I work with Giveth, and I'm just here to help moderate and facilitate this beautiful gathering of people. How about Andrew?
I'm Andrew Cravino. I work for Poa Network, and I'm the project manager for our Open Source Block Explorer. So I'd like to provide updates on this call about what we've done the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, and Ankit.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ankit. I am co-founder of Analyse Ether, and our objective is to make analysis of Ethereum blockchain as easy as possible for everyone. That's all.
Dave? Are you there, Dave? Okay, we're going to Mitch.
Hey everyone, my name is Mitch. I'm with the Ethereum Foundation. I help with product there. I help with ETH Prize, and Open Source Block Explorer is an ETH Prize bounty. If anyone wants to, has any pain points in the Ethereum ecosystem, please hit me up. I'm Mitch_Kosowski on Telegram and Mitch_Kosowski at gmail.com. Very interested in talking with the community. Kosowski spelled K-O-S-O-W-S-K-I. Thanks.
Thanks, Mitch. And Jay.
Yeah, my name is Jay Rush. I'm working on a project called QuickBlocks, and I'm here just to talk about some thoughts I have on testing and perhaps trying to improve the way the node delivers data.
Nice. Yeah, that's really exciting. Dave, are you here? Dave is here, but I don't know if his screen is frozen or what. He's definitely frozen. So let's just move. Oh, we have Rick Burton. Rick, yeah, you want to intro yourself really quickly?
Yeah, sure. My name is Richard. I'm from Balance. I get angry about data, and I'm very excited you're working on this.
Nice, nice.
Essentially, I feel nervous to depend on Etherscan for everything. I think they're a wonderful team, but they went down in the last week again. And I think you're all doing the Lord's work, so thank you very much. I'm just here to help to the extent that we can, and provide, we'll be a real customer of any of these products when they're working. So yeah.
Thanks, Rick. You do. Thanks so much for jumping in.
Cheers.
So let's get this show on the road. We have the first agenda topic is POA update. Let's hear the good news.
Sure. So the last couple of weeks, we now have our indexer that works in reverse. So it goes from the tip of the chain to Genesis. It's a better user experience, so we don't need to wait for the entire chain to be indexed. On our front end, we started working on the real-time updates for balances and transactions. We also started working on the front end of the tokens and smart contracts. We also have our new design that was just finalized, so we're working on that as well. On the developer side, or what we call developers, we finished the smart contract verification for a single Solidity version. We're working on now the version manager to verify the smart contracts against all Solidity versions, and preparing for other languages such as WebAssembly and Viper. And then we also have other developers working on the reading and writing of the verified smart contracts. So that's what we've done the last couple of weeks. We hope to put out our first version release in the next couple of weeks. We're just waiting for the new design, and then we'll be ready to go. I think you're muted, Griff.
My bad. Any questions for POA Network? It sounds pretty exciting.
Just a comment. Some amazing work, very, very quick velocity, and yeah, just really great news to hear. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Cool. Well, then we can move really quickly to the most exciting thing. At least we've been talking about it in Telegram a lot lately. Jay Rush has put together a pretty interesting, a nice little paragraph on possible EIPs that we could look to submit. Do you want to go over that, TJ?
Sure. So I think, first of all, I come at this from something of a upside down or inside out perspective, because I'm not really building a large multi-terabyte database of all the transactions. I'm more interested in building a small per account scraper. So my needs of the node are, I want to be able to run the node on just a regular machine and just pull data for my transactions. So I put up a couple of different thoughts about how the node could make that easier for me to do. And then I also put up some ideas for test cases that the group as a whole could build, because one of the things that I'm bumping into is there's no real good place to go to get a definitive list of every transaction on particular accounts. So say the ENS network, or I even use the Giveth smart contracts as part of my test cases. And I think I have the right list of transactions, but I don't have anywhere to go to confirm that that's the right list of transactions. So I think that that would be very helpful to me if we as a group could create lists of transactions for certain accounts that we could use as a benchmark or something like that. So these are very, very rudimentary thoughts, but from my perspective, what I would love to see the node be able to do would be let me tell the node where to start syncing. So if I'm a brand new user and I just wrote my first smart contract at block 5,500,000, I'm very happy just to tell the node to start syncing at block 5,499,999. And if I feel like if I provide the hash for block 5,400,099, I'm just as vulnerable to bad data as I am if I go to Infura or if I go to use a light node or something like that. So it's no worse for me to specify the block that I'm willing to start at and have the node just sync no data prior to that. And then another thought would be, let me tell the node, I don't need any blocks prior to block 4 million. And then it just throws them out so that I can reclaim my disk space, so I can stay on a small machine. But I can still get all the balances for all the accounts that I would want to get balances for. Because right now it's either I get no real historical balances, or I get 1.3 terabytes of data. So I'm trying to like carve a space out where a tiny user can get tiny data that they're interested in, as opposed to relying on a giant database of all the data across the whole chain. So that's where I'm coming from. So if you read what I posted in the document, you'll see those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about when I'm talking about EIPs. So, and I'm very, very interested in your thoughts on any of that stuff, because I feel like I'm a little bit of a strange user. That's about it.
Does anyone want to talk about, I assume most people in this call have at least read through the EIPs that he's mentioning. And does anyone have anything they want to discuss about this?
I mean, for us personally, the test cases and actually having a set, smart contract that has 1,000 contract creates and seeing the chain and make sure that we're actually all receiving the same data would be wonderful if we could create something like that. That for us would be something that we would love to do immediately. We've internally, talked about creating like test chains and doing the same thing, but if we could do it for the community where everyone can test against it, it would be great.
And there's a bunch of special cases like suicides are unusual, or I guess they're called self-destruct, sorry. Yeah, contract creations by contracts that have been created during the transaction, all kinds of crazy things like that. And then there's all sorts of transactions where an address is used as data in the transaction as opposed to actually the recipient or the sender of a transaction. And it's those kinds of transactions that are very, very difficult to really get a definitive answer of when an address is being used as a piece of data. So those are the really tough ones. And that's kind of the thing I'm most interested in because I'm very anal retentive. I want to see every single transaction that a transaction's involved in, including just arbitrary data usage or something. So yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and I can definitely say that, man, as a user, not having to think from the beginning, if you just don't care, would be amazing. I mean, so much development has been happening for, in the last so many years, in the last 6 months. Most people honestly don't care about the old data, So that would save a lot of users a lot of trouble.
So I don't know if there's like some mathematical reason why that wouldn't work, and I don't think you could ever do it in a fully trustless way, but it's no worse than the current situation where either people don't sync at all, which I think is bad, or they use Infura, which is just as centralizing as say Etherscan or something. And I love Infura, let's just say that.
Yeah. Another one of your EIPs is clearing the history, just being able to, from the node, actually delete the data that you collected so that you can save hard disk space.
Yeah.
That seems like a really obvious feature that I don't know if it's being intentionally held back, like planned obsolescence, because we want people to have that data, or not.
And then the other one for me that's very important is, and I think a lot of people would be, give me every address that's ever appeared in this block. And then you can build like a blockchain scraper fairly simply, because I think a lot of people want the blockchain data in general, but they also really want their list of transactions. So I think that's what people really want. So if you had a way to get just the transactions for a block, you could scan through the blocks and just pick off the blocks that are interesting to you. So there's another one in there for that. And that's actually that's probably the thing that I've been working on the most, is that ability to build a list per block of what the transactions look like, or what the accounts look like. So.
Well, anyone else have any comments on this? Any more comments on, I mean, should we push for an EIP? Is there anyone that anyone is especially excited about pushing?
Rick Dudley said that probably a good path would be to implement it in one of the nodes and show how useful it is, or some of these things, and then have an EIP, because starting with an EIP discussion might not be the most productive. So I don't know how to write Go code, but that might be something I do when I find some free time. Not that I have a whole lot of that. But.
I'm not 100% sure if I agree with that. I actually think writing the EIP will help gather just the EIP proposal in the list of EIPs, would help potentially gather a team that would be excited about, or like some community around that specific implementation. Okay. Maybe there is someone who wants to do it. Oh yeah, Richard?
Also, I love Rick, and I've said this to him in person. He's phenomenal at interfacing with computers. He's not the best at interfacing with people.
Yeah, that's the true.
I agree with Griff. In general, I think in the space, we kind of err on the side of like chewing up developer time, probably a bit too easily. And I think if we can kind of put the EIP and start getting people's opinions out, and then we can kind of iterate from that perspective before putting pen to paper as far as code goes, I think that could be very interesting. In my opinion, I think we can get some opinions drawn up and start that push relatively soon. I think within a week or so.
Well, I'm happy to help however I can.
Oh, have you ever made an EIP?
No.
Wow, time to pop that cherry.
That's how I can pop it. Good choice of words.
Yeah. I think it'd be exciting, man. I haven't made any successful EIPs, you know.
I'm just gonna say that's the nerdiest cherry I've ever heard of. I love it.
Griff, you have written some?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not hard. They give you a format, so you just go to the EIP submission thing, and
I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah. I think that would be good. I'm somewhat close with Kevin Owaki of Gitcoin, who I know is working hard on EIP 948 for subscription models. I think he's learned a decent amount about that. I'll ping him as well. But yeah, Jay, let's be in touch. We should get this out there. These are really nice ideas that I think the community needs to hear about.
Yeah, and I think we'll find out that one or two of them, like, you know, Peter from Geth will just like, yeah, that doesn't make sense for X, Y, and Z. You know,
Yeah, they may be simple things just to add. Possibly. Yeah. Okay, great.
Cool. Well, we have a lot of people on this call. I don't know. I don't have any other agenda topics. Does anyone here actually have anything that they want to specifically talk about? We're on fireside chat now.
Not specifically about the EIPs, but about the testing. I really like idea of EIPs, but also the idea of having a common test suite so that everyone can have common tests. There is a library on GitHub called EthTester, which is used by the Ethereum Python team to basically develop tests or common tests. So if we can also add our test suites on that, then we can have a common community effort going into building common test suites or common test registers.
Cool.
Great. Has anyone got TJ the capital he needs to focus yet? If that's not happened, I will continue with my campaigns. Still not happened? Okay, is anyone else capital constrained? Because I promised you in about 9 months I'm not going to be. So like I really just want to know who is not getting the funding they need, and I'll do my best to poke the bear. Yeah.
I completed a grant proposal, and I'm talking to a couple different grant organizations to try to put together a proposal. So.
Okay, all right. Well, send me the update on that offline, and I will see if I can do anything to help there.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a good idea to just broach that topic about grants. There are a lot of grants available out there, guys.
There's a lot of Medium posts. Like, we still haven't received our grant from the Ethereum Foundation for Wallet Connect. I've had enough. Honestly, these grants are absolute bullcrap. Like, they're so slow. It's crazy. I'm really sad.
Well, that's just the
really
Ethereum Foundation, though. There's also Ethereum Community Fund, Aragon Nest, Status Incubate, EthPrize, which POA Network and Mitch are working with. Yeah. There's, and I'm sure there's countless others. In the end, we all know that there's more money in this space than there are developers. So if there's developers that want to work on a project that aren't getting funds, there's a clear opportunity there.
Well, the unfortunately, Griff, the people in control of the capital have never actually deployed capital in their lives before. So they're very scared to do it, and they're nervous to do the wrong thing. And I understand why, because they don't have a good index of their head of the world when it comes to who you should back and who you shouldn't. But, you know, TJ, for me, maps absolutely every single box you would want from someone you would want to back. He's done a load of work. He cares about the community. He's involved with all the community projects. He's clearly not in it to make a quick buck and disappear. And the fact that our community is not, this has been now 2 months, this has been going on. Well, no, 3 months. I'm just sad. I'm just really sad. And I look forward to when we have hundreds of millions of dollars to deploy and we can actually get to work, because I am just to see TJ not get the capital he needs just really upsets me, I've got to say.
It'll come. It takes time for people to do things. So it's all good.
I know you won't say it, TJ, because you're lovely, but I do. It does make me sad. It just makes me sad. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, the Ethereum Foundation writes my checks, but I 100% agree with Rick on this. There's a saying in when product management that if you have a product manager who never makes a mistake, then it means that they're taking too much time. They're too slow and they're not iterating quickly enough. And unfortunately, I think that's kind of the situation that we find with a few different funds, Ethereum Foundation, and I also chat with a few other funds. But everyone is very, very concerned about funding a scam and then that having the egg on their face. So I don't want to say like let's ignore due diligence, let's do that. But at a certain time, decisions have to be made at a quicker level, and so that's kind of my efforts. But I 100% agree that there's just been too much time taken with a lot of these things, and we have to start deploying this capital. And that's why I love to see, you know, I can't comment on the specifics, but I love to see competitors, Definity, EOS, people coming out. It's a really kick in the butt that I think that the ecosystem kind of needs.
I mean,
so yeah.
it blows my mind that we're the #1 contributor on Gitcoin and we've got less capital than anyone. I mean, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. So just give me a year, lads, and I promise you I'll have between 100 and 200 million to deploy. And it's not going to be for me. It's going to be so I can actually start funding things properly.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that it's funny, but the ICOs that have raised a lot of funds are more on your side, Rick, of this like, hey, I got money to deploy. I just want to, let's put it to work. And I know, I definitely see that from Status and Aragon. It's slow. They still have like silly issues, legal issues that they feel stuck on. But you know, I can definitely say, hey, Giveth is working on building a platform to make this really easy as well, and hopefully we can
support that. Yeah, cool. No, I just wanted to see because I feel like there are lots of bottlenecks here, and anything we can do to free them up. I'm learning about how you can be more democratic about this stuff, but quite frankly, I don't know how. I'm not really the best at that stuff, so. I just say thank you all to all your hard work, and I hope that we can get you rewarded proportionally. And it's not so much reward as in just so you don't need to think about money, so you can just focus on the work. It's like putting food on people's tables, right? It's like none of us are doing this for money. Otherwise, we just go do blockchain consulting and like print money all day or do an ICO. So thanks for all your hard work, and at some point, I hope I can really help. I can help a little bit now, but a lot more later.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I think unless Dave has something, I know he's on this call, but I don't see him able to talk.
A silent guardian.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, I think I can call this one. Right? Like any last words? Maybe we can go. Let's just do one at a time and say closing thoughts and goodbye. Want to start with you, Andrew?
Sure. No, I appreciate it. Thomas, I think you brought up some great proposals there, and let's push it forward. Let's see what we can get accomplished.
And Kit?
Yeah, I like the idea of EIPs. I like the idea of testing suits. And Thomas, if you want any help with the EIPs, I can contribute as well.
Mitch?
Yeah, please keep us posted on the Telegram with the EIP. Yeah, let's get that pushed out sooner rather than later. Andrew, from your end, once you guys are comfortable with some demos, definitely interested on that. But yeah, another great meeting, guys.
Yeah, Rick?
Thanks for all the hard work, guys. Really appreciate it, and it'll make our products better. So, you know, we just really appreciate it, and to the extent that we can support with advice and guidance, we can now, and hopefully with capital in the future. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man. And Jay?
I will work on an EIP and post it to the Telegram group. Looking forward to feedback, all the feedback in the world.
Awesome. I'll definitely give you some feedback. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.